Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Lush Foliage. As you can see around, it's quite wet. It just rained a couple of minutes ago and it might rain again. But I just wanted to quickly show you this new plant that's growing in my garden. Now basically I had got this as a gift. Unfortunately, during the process of acclimating, it started to die. But as usual, I do not throw the stem off. I buried the stem in this mix. And now you can see it's growing very well. Now if you're wondering what this plant is, looks quite similar to a beetle leaf, but this is actually a Syngonium. It's called as Syngonium bunny ears. Now if you're wondering why bunny ears, these are the ones that are going to get elongated, that will start to grow larger. I will put up the image on the screen and you'll get a fair idea. So this is the reason why it's called as bunny ears. You can see this portion tends to grow really large and this portion tends to stay the same shape but getting enlarged, the tips of the leaves. So it gets this name. Now again over here, let me zoom in a little bit. You can see there is a new growth coming up over here because this entire thing, there is a long stem. So it might start putting up a lot of new growth. This is the new growth that is just coming up. So I'm pretty excited about it. It's amazing to see when a plant tends to die completely and then it starts to grow back. That is the most exciting part. So this is Syngonium bunny ears. Now talking about the light, please do not expose this particular plant to direct sunlight. It usually tends to stay green in color, very dark green in color. So if you're going to expose it to direct sunlight, the leaves will get burnt. Avoid even morning direct sunlight. Give it a good amount of indirect bright light. This plant tends to grow as a canopy in its natural habitat, so you have to replicate that. You can grow it indoor. You can keep it in your living room, bedroom, bathroom, wherever you want, as long as there is a good amount of indirect but bright light. The plant will look even more dark green in color. This is a very juvenile form right now. It's still starting to grow. As and when it starts to mature, it's going to look quite different. Please do not keep it under the air conditioning vent. Keep it in a place where there is a lot of light. Less light, it will do well in less light, but when we say less light, it does not mean no light at all. If you're going to keep it in less light, then the leaves will eventually start to turn yellow and fall off when it does not get a lot of light. Now talking about the soil mix, I tend to use the same soil mix, which is a mix of coco peat, garden soil, sand and perlite. Perlite is optional, but the soil has to be loose, porous, well draining, yet maintaining a slight amount of moisture. They do not like to be sitting in dry soil for a longer period of time. They are not drought tolerant plant. The plant will start to have issues. So ensure that you are maintaining a slight amount of even moisture in the soil, but not soggy wet soil. If the soil will stay soggy, then the plant will have root rot. Now Syngoniums can also be grown in hydroponics. Basically you can grow it in leca with water as well, but you have to ensure that there is no soil in the root area. The soil should be completely cleaned before putting it in water. You can grow it semi-submerged either in leca or some pebbles, and you have to change the water. Now again, this is the issue with growing it in water because you have to change the water quite often. It's better put it into the soil and it's going to do quite well. Now talking about temperature and humidity, these are very basic tropical plants. They do not need a high amount of humidity. They will do well in average humidity. But again, they need a little bit of humidity. They will not do well in dry environment. Now talking about temperatures, they will do well between 15 to 30, 34, 35 degrees Celsius. They are not frost hardy. So if you are from a place wherein you experience snowfall, you'll have to get them indoor. They will not do quite well in snow. Talking about pest issues, they do get affected with mealybugs, spider mites occasionally, but mealybugs is something that usually tends to attack on the stem. So do a routine check once in 2 weeks, once in 3 weeks. If you tend to see anything beneath the leaves, go for any organic solution that you have been using all this while, and that tends to work out really well. Propagation of Syngonium is one of the most easiest way. You can do a nod cutting. There will be a nod beneath the soil. I will share the video link of the Syngonium that I had propagated. I'll put it in the link in the description below. You can check it out. It is the same process. Do not do a cutting like this on the stem because this is not an actual stem. If you're going to do a cutting like this and put it in the water, it is not going to get propagated. You need to have a good amount of stem or with roots or that particular nod that is going to be beneath, because as I said, these are epiphytic plants. In nature, they tend to grow under the canopy of other plants. They tend to have these nodes which they attach and they start growing vertically. So you will find the nodes inside. You'll have to take out the plant and then either you can do a root division or you can cut it near the node. It does not have a node right now because the stem is completely inside, but there will be evident nodes once it starts to grow a little bit bigger. Now, I think I already spoke about watering. You have to ensure that the soil is evenly moist. Do not keep them very dry. Water until the water starts passing through the drain hole, and then wait for around 1 to 2 inches of the upper layer of soil to dry, and then you can go ahead and water it. The best thing what I can advise is do not use direct tap water. They contain a lot of minerals and chlorine. A lot of times they do damage the leaves. So the best thing what you can do is either use RO water, filtered water, or you can use old water as well. I tend to usually use old water. Old water is basically you can let the water sit in the bucket for 24 to 48 hours and then use that water. Within 24 hours, within couple of hours itself, the chlorine starts to evaporate from water, and then it is quite safe to use that water in our plants. Talking about fertilizers, do not add fertilizers during the winter season because that's when they tend to slow down their growth. Summer is their growing period, so you can add fertilizers during the summer or the warmer months. That's when they tend to put out a lot of new growth. Right now it was summers, but now we are slowly entering into the monsoon season. So during the summers, as you can see, it has started to put out a lot of new growth. Even during the monsoons, it will start putting out a lot of new growth because rainwater is one of the best form of water that you can give for your plants. So the climate is slightly warm, slightly cold, tends to work out really well for Syngoniums. Talking about toxic, yes, this plant is toxic, so ensure you're keeping this plant away from the reach of small children and pets. If the leaves are ingested, it can lead to problems, so ensure you're keeping it away from them. Apart from that, it's a very, very easy to grow plant. If you are a beginner looking out for something very easy and low maintenance, Syngonium is one of the plant you can add in your collection. Now, I'm not very sure if this particular variety will be available in the nurseries or online, but you can definitely check it online. This was something as a gift that I had received. As I said, initially it didn't do quite well, but now that it has got adjusted in my environment, it is starting to put out a lot of new growth. So guys, that's all about it. I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. And if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep propagating.